Hello my friends, it's Ty. If you're new here, I'm a tarot and oracle reader. I'm here today with an unboxing. This time it's of the Transient Light Tarot by Wisner, with poetry by Fausta Joly. I picked this one up yesterday, actually. I was just at an event where I grabbed quite a few new decks, so there's going to be a couple of unboxings coming. So this particular deck I thought looked really interesting. I'll read the back for you. It says, rediscover your own wisdom. Inspired by the beauty of transience, this powerful tarot invites you to embrace the spirit of growth and celebrate our limitless collective connection. By tuning into the magic of the cards, you'll discover your own wisdom and opportunities for healing, reflection, and authenticity. Wisner is a queer artist, illustrator, and designer. So that in particular got my interest because, of course, the idea of transient states is something that interests me as a trans person, and B, when someone is a queer artist, a queer creator, that's something that I am always on the lookout for and always ready to support. So let's get into it. Just going to get in through the plastic. All right. So, matte box. Looked shiny in the paper, but it's all quite a matte finish. Relatively heavy cardboard. Inside of the lid, we've got, what's it say? Come sit in the present, nestled in the neck of an hourglass, the future overhead, the past below. Reach out your cupped hands into the stream of falling sand, simultaneously receiving, holding, and letting go with gratitude as the golden thread of time spools and spills through your fingers. So you've got a lovely little poem in there in the inside of the lid of the box. Then we have the guidebook. The back says, embrace the spirit of growth. This deck is a tool to help you discover your powerful inner magic, take control of your purpose, and embrace opportunities for healing and growth. Inspired by Ari Wisner's personal journey, the stunning imagery and symbolism of the cards hold universal appeal. This tarot is genderless and reimagined so that each and every one of us can find ourselves within. This guidebook features card interpretations from Ari and 29 bespoke poems by Fausta Joly. There are also 3 additional cards, past, present, and future, to allow for unique spreads and insightful readings. That's a nice summary. Oh, little stars. Always a fan. So it was a Kickstarter deck. We've got our opening pages. We have more poetry here. Do you feel like your body is just a temporary vessel of eternity, not held closely enough or tied up too tightly, a hectic collection of memories and ideas, hopes and fears, a being perpetually knitting and unraveling in a tangled mess? Come sit in the present, nestled in the neck of an hourglass, the future overhead, the past below. Reach out your cupped hands into the stream of falling sand. So we've got some more introductory pages. I won't read all of that to you there, but there's some words about the gender neutral and inclusive approach, which really appeals to me as a agender or non-binary person. Some words about creating your own tarot practice, rituals, personal practice. It's nice that they've included that bit of background, and then they get into the meanings for each of the cards. So I'll show you the cards in the moment, but it looks like for each of these pages, they actually have, like, for each card, it comes with a poem. So that's really beautiful. So if you are going to look at you don't get just the definition of the card, you also get a poem to go with it. It also looks as though some of these are renamed. For instance, here you have 5 is the Proclaimer, which would often be the Hierophant traditionally. So it's interesting how I'm sure there's a particular reason behind each of those like renamings. So that'll be a really nice one to refer back to. Let's have a look at the cards, huh? All right. One moment. Remove the sleeve. All right. So the back is this kind of hourglass, navy blue, night sky color, golden with little white and gold stars, which certainly appeals to me and my preferred aesthetics. The edge is not gilded, but as someone who gilds a lot of their decks, it's gonna be soon enough. I can totally picture it with gold along the edges. So let's get into each of the cards. We have the Fool, the Magician. It's a great way of showing the 4 elements there. The Revealer, in place of what would usually be the High Priestess. We still have the 2 letters that would normally be on the 2 pillars. So, and this kind of constellation. Wonderful. Thank you for making this deck for me. The Nurturer, which is like the Empress. This nice pearl, underwater imagery. How many stars have we got there? 12. Number 4, the Defender, instead of the Emperor. So I like the contrast between, you had your very curved and organic shapes in the previous card, and then in this card it's still shapes of an organic nature, but with a very solid, balanced organization, which is a good kind of contrast between those 2 cards. The Proclaimer, which is like the Hierophant, but it's an elephant, so that's pretty cute. The Lovers, with this heart locket. The Chariot. Strength. Excuse me. The Hermit. I've noticed a few decks incorporate like I don't know if this is a bee or a wasp, but a bee or a wasp with the Hermit. I guess that might be a Virgo thing, perhaps. I think that's really cool imagery. And of course, they're being attracted to the candlelight. The Wheel. With all the things that we often associate with that, with the dice, the luck, the thread. Justice. Again, more constellations here. A lot of little details to look into. The Hanged One. I don't know if anyone else just briefly saw an IUD before they saw a anchor, but pretty cool either way, honestly. Death. Temperance. The Devil. It's an interesting one. If you recall, usually on the Devil card you have the 2 figures similar to the 2 figures on the Lovers. And so in this deck, their Lovers card had a heart locket, and in this Devil, they've got the heart locket being snipped. So that's an interesting thread that carries through. The Tower. The Star. It's really great use of the negative space there. And the same imagery of the cupped hands that many of those poems were referring to. Of course, having not read all of the poems, it's really interesting how, even having only read one or two, that imagery sticks out and enough to remember. The Moon. The Sun. Judgment. The World. Ace of Wands. So we're getting into the minors here. Reminds me of sort of like a sage bundle, or, you know, bundled herbs for the purpose of burning, smoking, etc. Two of Wands. The globe that we usually see in that card. Three of Wands. Four of Wands. Five. So some of these are a little more pip-like. Six. Still quite an effective way of getting that message across with sort of minimal imagery. Seven. 8. 9. 10. And then you see the court cards have different names than usual as well. So in place of the page, we have the Apprentice of Wands with this kind of telescope looking thing here. Instead of the Knight, we have the Champion of Wands, who I'm guessing might be like a raven, maybe a blackbird. Keeper of Wands rather than Queen. It's still the Sunflower. And Crown of Wands rather than King. So that's an interesting way of making this deck gender neutral. So I'm keen to see what it's like to read with, for sure. Into Cups, which here is Vessels, Ace of Vessels, message in a bottle. It's a nice way of portraying that. 2, classic cheers. 3. This is interesting that the vessel is different each time. We had a bottle, 2 glasses, 3 paint tubes. I like that idea as being the different forms that water in the tarot might show up in life. 4. 5. It's again very simple but very effective. 6. 7. 8. 9. I like the different fruits in the bowls. And 10. So So the vessels all being little gifts under a rainbow. Which, with the muted sort of color palette, it's kind of cool that they still got a rainbow in there. I will confess, I am a fan. We have Apprentice of Vessels, making pottery. Champion of Vessels. Keeper of Vessels. And Crown of Vessels. Then we have swords. So here is our ace with a butterfly. Two with a crescent moon. Three. Four. Five. I like the amount of focus that's given to the celestial bodies in this deck. Like so far we have a lot of sun and moon and stars action in a lot of the cards. 6. 7. I like that one. That's really implying, you know, strategy with the chessboard at the base there. That's really clever. 8. 9. And 10 of swords. The Apprentice of Swords, of course, often associated with learning, studying. Champion of Swords. Eagle appears in the swords suit in a lot of different decks. Keeper of Swords. And Crown of Swords. Then we have coins. Ace. I like that they've still got this garden wall, similar to the sort of original illustration. 2. Forgive my dog snoring in the background if you can hear that. 3 of coins. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. So I can see how some of these might be, again, a little bit on the pip side of things. Some of these of the minor arcana are a little bit less immediately symbolic in their imagery. For instance, the 8 of coins here doesn't necessarily give you a lot to work with. So you'd need to have a little bit of understanding or perhaps be able to refer to some resources if you're new to reading tarot. Still beautifully done though. 9. And the 10. The Apprentice of Coins, planting the seed. The Champion of Coins. The Keeper of Coins. And the Crown of Coins. And then this deck also has some additional cards in it. They're Past, which has a spade, DNA, I guess to do with ancestral history and digging up the past, you know, that kind of imagery. The river. Present, which we've got the timer and inside of a shape that looks a bit like an eye, things growing. And future, we've got the planets, the outer space, and these what were saplings as trees. So that's the full deck. In terms of size, it's pretty standard for a tarot size. It is published by Hay House. I don't have another Hay House deck handy, but this is a pretty standard size. And then in terms of the cardstock as well, it's quite good quality. So this was a pretty standard price deck. I think it was around the $30 mark. So neither expensive nor inexpensive, but it's pretty good quality for what you pay. They shuffle quite well. They're a little stiff. They have that finish where there's some slip to them, and the deck itself is a little chunky. So not as easy to shuffle as they could be. I'm really looking forward to doing some readings with these because I'm really interested to see, especially with things being gender neutral, including those renamed court cards. I'm super excited to see how that comes up in readings and what kind of new insights I can get about the meanings of those cards based on those differences. Also really keen to look back through all the poetry and what's written in the guidebook. Sometimes a guidebook doesn't give you a lot of extra insight or explanation, but I feel like this one is going to be really worth the look. So thank you for unboxing it with me today. This was the Transient Light Tarot. I would definitely encourage you to go get a copy if you are debating doing so, because I think I'm going to love reading with it. Please subscribe if you are not already subscribed. I'm going to be uploading more unboxings and other tarot and oracle related videos in the near future. So I will see you in the next one. Bye.